Hi. Aren't you friendly? Sorry, I'm not gonna feed you. Aren't you handsome? So basically, if you tell me that there's cute sheep hanging around, I will be there. Hi, I'm Melanie, and you're watching Yarn Journeys. I'm a knitter, a spinner, and a sometimes sewist, and I live in Arlington, Virginia, just outside of Washington, D.C. If you are a returning viewer to Yarn Journeys, welcome back. And if you are new here, well, I am so glad you have found me. Here's what's up for today's video. First, I went to a knitting retreat in Maine. I went to the Knitwit at the Shores retreat in Searsport, Maine, that was put on by the Knitwit Yarn Shop. And I had the best time, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. And next, as always, I'll give you an update of my finished projects and works in progress. It's been a while, so I've got some good stuff to show you. So while I was in Maine, I got to tape a podcast with Jennifer Fleck, the owner of the Knitwit Yarn Shop, and her partner in crime, Julie Nye. They host the Maine Yarn podcast, and we had such a good time. Talking about all things Maine, the yarn shop and knitting scene in Maine. And I got to learn lots of new things, like this one.
Oh, well, if you go to Birmingham, I can recommend a yarn store.
Excellent.
Tom Cruz has been there.
Tom Cruise knits?
Yeah, apparently.
Wow.
I don't want to call out Tom Cruise, but he went to that yarn store and did a little photo op, and he said he was getting stuff because he was filming a movie. It was one of the Mission Impossibles, and they were in Birmingham at one point. So he went to that yarn store and did the photo op like he was picking up supplies. I don't know how much of a knitter he is, but he was willing to do it. So, yeah.
Wow.
I want to see the sweater, Tom. We want to see that.
You learn something new every day.
Yeah.
It was a really good chat. And if you want to hear the rest of the conversation and learn all about the upcoming Maine yarn cruise, please be sure to check out the link in the description below, which will take you to the podcast episode of the Maine Yarn podcast. So this was my first knitting retreat, and I can't say enough about what a fantastic experience it was. And there was a lot there was to love about the retreat, but the thing that really made it unforgettable for me were the people. The group of women who made up the participants of this retreat were just totally kick-ass. I felt very honored to be among them. I really enjoyed hearing about their life experiences, and they had great stories to share. And, well, I really missed them when I got home, and I hope we'll all stay in touch. Anywho, I am going to let Melanie in Maine tell you all about the retreat. So here she is. I am here at the Searsport Shores Ocean Campground in Searsport, Maine for the Knitwit at the Shores knitting retreat. And I am having a fabulous, fabulous time. Behind me is the beautiful Penobscot Bay. In down east Maine. I think that's what they call it. I am not from Maine. I'm from Arlington, Virginia, outside of DC. But I decided to come up all the way to beautiful Maine because it is a hotbed of knitting and yarny and woolly activity. Plus, I couldn't miss this retreat. It has really been a fabulous time. I have been taking classes with 3 amazing knitting instructors and designers. So with Bristol Ivy, I took a class on intarsia. Those of us who were knitting in the 80s may remember the intarsia from Hell masterpieces of Kaffe Fassett and other intarsia fantasy sweaters from that time. So, you know, I never actually attempted any of those sweaters. My mom did, and it pretty much killed her interest in knitting. But Bristol Ivy did an amazing job of making intarsia seem easy and fun, and she showed us all sorts of cool techniques on, you know, how to dive into intarsia and make it your own, and of course fun. With Casapinka, I took a class on designing your own shawl, and I am actually really loving what she taught us there, and I'll show you what I am working on. So she showed us how to do the Boomerang Shaw technique, and I am using the Farm Fresh DK that I got at the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival, and I'm just doing an eyelet pattern, and this is what I'm knitting on while I'm here. It is a really good time. And then I took a class on seaming with the lovely Alicia Plummer. Once again, demystifying these techniques, which a lot of knitters are like, oh no, I don't seam, forget seaming, not doing any sweaters with seaming. Well, Alicia showed us how to seam with beautiful results, and she gave us a mnemonic device for how to do grafting with a little bit, you know, more, you know, without having to think about it, and that was a lot of fun. And later today I am taking a class on it's called Sheep to Skein by Alicia, and I'm gonna learn how to wash a fleece. I am staying in the tent that I brought. I flew up, I stuffed my tent and my camping stuff in my suitcase, rented a car in Bangor, and drove about an hour to Searsport. And this is one of the most beautiful campgrounds I have ever stayed in. The landscaping is beautiful, and you can't beat the view behind me. The rumor was going around this morning that there was a whale out there. You know, if you see a blow behind me, perhaps you might have seen it. I have not seen a blowhole or whale blowing out there. I know what it looks like, but apparently there's dolphins and seals that come to visit. Really a beautiful, beautiful place. And I am just having the best time. I will share with you some additional footage of my time here, particularly the town of Belfast. That I had no idea that the town that's, you know, just 10 minutes down the road is got so much fibery goodness going on. So there is a lovely yarn shop called Heavenly Yarns that has a super well edited collection of yarns for sale, some from Maine. They have a really amazing collection of Jagger spun, which is a Maine mill nearby. And as well as, they got the full gamut of Cascade, which is great, but also a lot of other beautiful yarns as well. I really enjoyed stopping in and chatting with the folks over there. I also visited Fiddlehead Artisan Supply. And if you are into fabrics, wow, I didn't even know they were there. I parked and yesterday morning to get a bite to eat in Belfast, and I parked outside of Fiddlehead, and I was like, oh, when they're open, I'm gonna have to stop by. Amazing collection of fabrics, just phenomenal. And then also in the town of Belfast is Belfast Fiber Arts, where there is an amazing weaver who teaches weaving classes and is also a Schacht and Ashford retailer. And she had lots of beautiful weaving to show, and she chatted with me for a long time. So yeah, this little corner of Maine is really quite the locus for just amazing fiber arts goodness. So yeah, Maine, it is really wonderful. And if you are a knitter or a weaver or a spinner, I mean, I think you gotta come up here. So more to come, and hopefully I'll have more to share about this wonderful retreat I'm attending in a little bit. The campground had beautiful spaces to take a walk and for the retreat to hold classes, as well as a tent for us all to eat our meals. And one night we had the most spectacular sunset we could see over the garden. This is the office and also the campground store. This campground hosts a number of artistic and social events. The campground owners have a flock of adorable Angora goats, as well as some sheep, including this cute Jacob and the one from the beginning of the video. As well as a few chickens, which had a habit of following me around. All around the campground were samples of beautiful fiber art, as well as these really cool sculptures. And who doesn't love a gorgeous big campfire for everyone to sit around and knit? Knitwit Yarn Shop also brought some hand dyers to form a marketplace. And local Maine hand dyer Snellygaster did a special colorway, Toes in the Water, just for retreat participants. So that was Maine. And if you get a chance to go on a knitting retreat or if you get the opportunity to travel to Maine and visit some yarn shops, do it. You will have a good time, I have no doubt. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, please do give it a thumbs up and hit that like button below. That will help this video and the channel find people just like you who might enjoy it also. And you should subscribe because I have some awesome yarn journeys coming up the rest of the year. And now for some project updates. So the first big thing I have to report is that I completed my level 1 submission, which is a great big binder full of swatches and reports for the TKGA, or the Knitting Guild Association's level 1 of the Master Hand Knitter certification. You may or may not be familiar with this certification. Probably the most famous master hand knitter here on YouTube is probably Roxanne Richardson, but Heather Storta, Suzanne Bryan, Donna Eston also come to mind as notable people who you might know that are master hand knitters. Tanya Lyons of Nerdy Knitting has a really great video explaining what the Master Hand Knitter certification is and all about her experiences going through it, and I will link to that video in the description notes. So I sent off my level 1, and it was a lot of work. I had a year to do it, and I completed it in 11 months and some change. If you've got any questions for me about my experience and what it was like to start the program, please do let me know what questions you have. I plan to do a review of my level 1 results in an upcoming video. I don't have my results back. They'll probably be coming in a few weeks. I'd like to share what I learned, and if you've got any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. We actually had a debate at the retreat among a few of us after dinner one evening about, whether or not the Knitting Guild Association was kind of, the knitting police, as if there was such a thing. I do not think they are the knitting police. But, it was an interesting question to bounce around. What I do know is that I learned a lot, even just going through level 1. At first I thought, well, these are a whole bunch of techniques that I've already done and feel confident in. But once I really got into it, I really saw how much I had to learn. So stay tuned. I will be going a bit more in depth on that in a future episode. I also finished my Study in Pink sweater, or top. This pattern is by Melanie Berg. For me, this is really more a study in mint green. I used the Camellia Fiber Co. flax fingering, and that is a blend of silk, alpaca, and linen. I am very happy with how it came out, and I'm going to insert a picture here that my husband took of me, where you can see the whole top and how it fits. As you may remember from a previous episode, my gauge was big, and I had a decision to make in terms of what size to knit and whether to try and go down in needle size and so forth. This was knit on number 2 needles, which already felt tiny to me for knitting a whole top. So what I elected to do was knit one size smaller than the size I was supposed to have knit according to the directions in the pattern. And frankly, I am thinking that's a good decision. I am really pleased that, you know, I think the collar fits just fine. It's supposed to be wide. It's very, very drapey, which is the reason I chose this pattern for this yarn. Now it is alpaca and silk, which are very drapey yarns, and I'm trying not to think about that this knit might be stretching down off my shoulders as I'm speaking. But all in all, this is really the first sort of lace tee that I have really worked on, and so I'll do some more. I'm really pleased. I do have a knit about the yarn, however. So this Camellia Fiber Co. Flex fingering, it has, I don't know, the camera I am sure is not going to pick this up. Like there is this little bit of like flax fiber that is just poking out of the yarn. Here is another one, and frankly, it is contributing, those little flax fibers, which I ran into, kind of contribute to a slightly scratchy feeling. For the most part, it feels really smooth and soft, but every once in a while I feel like I'm getting a little poke. I have never actually knit with a linen blend yarn before, so I don't know if that's common or just the way this particular yarn was milled and spun. If you have any thoughts, I would love to hear them. My second finished object is the Islesburgh Toorie hat. This is the Shetland Wool Week 2024 hat, and I knit this from a Jamieson and Smith's 2-ply kit that I purchased from the Woolly Thistle, of course, because it was the red colorway. So I personally always love doing some stranded color work. It really is my favorite, and I thought this one was fun because of the little sheep that are the ram's heads that are a major part of the pattern. Now this is a Toorie, which I suppose is a different kind of hat from a cap. I don't really know much about the different styles of Fair Isle hats, but I understand that there is a difference. My gauge did come out a little big, but I like it anyway, and well, considering my future travel plans for the fall, knitting a Islesburgh Toorie was going to happen this summer anyway. So in terms of works in progress, I have 3 projects on my needles right now. So first up is I've really been trying to make some headway on my Inclinations shawl that I have knit with my hand spun. This is the hand spun that I started working on during last year's Tour de Fleece, and it's really getting close to being done. I have a lot more yarn than I need to complete the shawl, and between you and me and the rest of YouTube, I'm kind of getting tired of knitting on this one. It's a bit squishy, and I love it, and I'm really happy with how the colors turned out. There's this variegated one with the bluey purple, and the next transition is to the gold and the pink. I think this is really fun, and it's going to be definitely be warm in the winter. It's just time for this project to be done. It's been my TV knitting for the past couple months or so, but almost there. And I'm sure by the next episode, I will be sure to have the whole thing finished. I am also still working on the shawl that I started with Casapinka in the class about how to design your own shawl. This is a simple eyelet pattern. All it is, 3 rows of stockinette interrupted by a row of eyelets made by, yarn overs and knit 2 togethers. But I think this is coming out beautifully. It's a boomerang shawl, which means that it kind of has this curve to it. I have 3 skeins. So this is one skein of the Junction Fiber Mill Farm Fresh DK, and I'm just going to keep going. This will be another nice cozy shawl for the winter. So I have also cast on the Getaway Cardigan. This is a pattern by Alicia Plummer, who I so enjoyed getting to meet and taking classes with in Maine at the retreat. While we were there, she shared with us her sample that she had knit herself in Brooklyn Tweed's Shelter. And I have been really wanting a shawl collar style cardigan for some time. And I just had the epiphany that while I saw her modeling her cardigan for us, that this would be the perfect pattern for the yarn I got in Ireland, which is the Donegal Wool Spinning Company yarn. So I got this at Studio Donegal in Kilcar, and you can only get it there. They said they actually don't export it for retail out of Ireland. This is a lovely gray yarn with these tweedy flecks. And once I realized that I had enough for to complete the cardigan, I was like, we're casting this on right away. But I actually was a good girl, and I did a swatch, which I blocked and then measured. I happen to really love the fabric. However, this is turning out to be a theme. My gauge was too big. But I really liked the fabric, and I liked knitting it on the size 7 needles. I felt like if I went down a needle size, that this was just not going to be okay. Just a bit too tight and stiff. So I did some math. Using the gauge I got from this swatch, I figured that I actually will have the correct measurements at this gauge for the sweater that is my size if I knit the size below. Again, just like with the study in mint green, I am choosing to use the stitch counts for the smaller size in the hope that I actually get the size that fits me. So got lucky with this one. I figured, why not give it another try? So I have got this on my needles. It is knit flat, and you can see the plethora of stitch markers I've got marking all the different sections. So, you know, and this is how I knit. I am a huge believer in marking off sections with circular stitch markers. I happen to love these little all stitch markers. You can see them that have the little flowery kind of motif on them. So, you know, I've got my ribbing. This is plain stockinette. It has pockets. So this is the left front pocket marked with the green, and then more stockinette, and then this is the back. And there is a knit and purl chevron pattern across the back, and I have it all marked off with these flops stitch markers because they're different, to let me know that that's a pattern repeat marker, not a front versus back section marker. And then here is the right front, the right pocket, and then the ribbing. So as you can tell, I have only just started, but it is good knitting so far, and I'm looking forward to having a shawl collar cardigan in the fall. So what's coming up next on Yarn Journeys? Well, Saturday, June 29th starts the Tour de Fleece, and I plan to be spinning every day. I haven't gotten to do much spinning recently, so I am excited to dive in and put something on this wheel right here. Stay tuned and you will be sure to find out what exactly I'm doing. Don't really quite have a huge plan except other than to spin all the amazing fiber that I've accumulated. So in truth, it's going to be a stash down spin, but I'm excited to get into it. I mean, just spin up some yarn because yarn makes me happy, simply put. So that's all I've got for you today. I do hope you enjoyed spending time with me. Please be sure to subscribe because you won't want to miss the yarn journeys that lay ahead on this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.